I'd like to call the zoning meeting to order pursuant to our schedule. First of all, let's call the roll. The secretary can call the roll call.
Chairman Dash is absent by prior notice.
Okay.
Commissioner Kempa.
Here.
Commissioner DeGraff is absent by prior notice. Commissioner Tammet.
Here.
Commissioner Patel is absent by prior notice. Commissioner Mellon.
Here.
Commissioner Sayward. Here.
We have a quorum.
We do have a quorum.
Okay, the next item would be to appoint an acting chairman in the absence of Chairman Dash.
I'll make that motion to appoint the chairman.
Who would that be?
Is there a second?
Commissioner Tammen.
Okay.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next item is the approval of the May 24th, 2018 2018 minutes. We all had them on our email. Is there any additions, corrections to the minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Old business, I don't believe we have any old business.
Just a quick announcement at the PZBA recommended denial of 850, the 1208 Stratford, the garage variation. That case was heard by the city council. They had were going to refer it back to the PZBA to reconsider a new hardship issue that was raised at the council meeting. However, after the meeting ended, the applicant officially withdrew his application and has decided to move forward with building a code-compliant structure. So that's the status of that case. So that's officially closed, and now we can move on to new business.
Okay, new business. The first item is PZBA public hearing case ZBA 18-08SU. The applicant is McDonald's, 1200 North Milwaukee, represented by Lisa Domeyer, Lingo Design Group. One thing I'd like to do is enter into the minutes the exhibits 1 through 6, which include the completed application, plat of survey, revised geometric plan, final engineering proof of mailing and public notices, and zoning review. With that, I would like a motion to open the public hearing on this case.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Director Peterson?
The city has received an application from Lingo Design Group on behalf of McDonald's. McDonald's is proposing to expand their drive-through facilities, increase it from 1 to 2. However, that would require an amendment or expansion of their existing special use, because in 1997 they were granted a special use for an outdoor seating area, which in this plan is being proposed to be eliminated. Also in this plan, the plan that showed for a reduction in parking spaces from 50 down to 44. However, the 44 parking spaces do meet our parking requirement of the zoning code. So with that, we have representatives from Lingo Design Group and Watermark Engineering and McDonald's. So, gentlemen.
Could I swear you both, are you both going to testify? Yes. Could I swear you both in? You tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Yes. Thank you. When you come up to the podium, if you would state your name and address for the record, for the secretary? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Joe Kirchner. I'm with Lingo Design Group at 158 West Main Street, Lena, Illinois, 61048. I do have the mailing cards. Would you?
Yes, please. These were part of the exhibits that the Chair Pro Tem already read.
As discussed, we are looking to remodel both the exterior and the interior to bring it more up to the standard, McDonald's standard, and bring it up into the future experience of the future, so to speak. Starting with the outside, we're looking to remove the old red roof, mansard roof, and extend up the existing exterior walls up to 18-foot tall. And with that extension, we're looking to use a Nichiha material, which is a fiber cement board. Very durable, very long-lasting, low-maintenance material, and looks really nice. With that, we're also looking to paint the whole building, new colors, new modern colors, which this color is going to be a more tannish taupe color on the building, along with a Nichiha on the front and top of the sides. That's more of a wood look color. It makes it kind of pop out and look, I think, really nice. Inside-wise, like I said, we're looking to bring everything up as far as the dining room and the customers' view forward, bring up for ADA requirements. All bathrooms will be updated, seating, and vestibules. With that, basically, really no kitchen work proposed. We're really going to stay in the main dining area and the front counter area, and looking to, like I said, modernize and bring some new technology into McDonald's for easier and quicker and faster service. As far as the site goes, I'm going to let Ken Sack with Watermark touch base on that. If there's any questions on the building portion, I guess I should ask you first.
If you could
Kenneth,
state,
I'm sorry.
if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Kenneth Sack, Watermark Engineering, 2631 Ginger Woods Parkway, Aurora, Illinois. As Joe mentioned, part of this project is the MRP, the building part of it. Along with that goes the proposed site work. McDonald's is proposing the double drive-through versus the single lane that's currently out there now. They look to upgrade the sidewalks around the building, and they also are looking to upgrade the ADA stalls for the site to bring it in compliance for ADA. This, as you mentioned, the site does lose 6 stalls, but we are still meeting the parking requirement for the city. The 2 entrances are remaining the same. We're not changing any of the entry points into the site. We are changing the circulation a little bit along Palatine Road. As they come in, they come into the site and they dive into the drive-through. The change we're making with the side-by-side is that now they will come into the site and wrap around the side of the building and then come around the front. That will create more stacking for the vehicles and will eliminate any stacking near Palatine Road. So I see the double drive-through as a benefit in that aspect. So those are the key points to it. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer if anybody has any questions.
I have a question regarding the stacking. Do you see it being a problem having the stacking so close to the entrance on Milwaukee Avenue where you have to kind of dive into an existing stacking line?
I don't foresee that because in the current condition, the stacking allowed for 8 cars. With the new double drive-through, we're going to allow for at least 13 cars to stack. And with the increase in the efficiencies with the building, the kitchen, that should help the kitchen move faster, and I don't foresee any, it should really help the situation out tremendously. And now instead of being near Palatine Road, they have to come around the building, and that will allow for more stacking if needed.
Okay.
I have a quick question. In the current configuration, the cars that enter off of Palatine Road, when they go through drive-through, they don't need to wrap around the building, right? They basically go straight into the drive-through?
No, in the current condition, they do.
Or they still wrap around the building?
No, in the current condition, in the current condition off Palatine Road, they go right into the drive-through, right into the menu board.
Okay,
They won't be able to do that now.
right.
They'll have to come in and wrap around the building and come around.
So then basically, so if they're wrapping around the building and there's cars coming in from Milwaukee, then they have to merge together?
Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
and that,
Because you will have people coming off Milwaukee still, and people coming around, yes, they'll have to be cautious in coming around that side.
you don't see that causing backups on Milwaukee?
No, not with this configuration, no, I do not.
Okay.
Because at that point, Milwaukee is a right turn in only,
Yeah.
correct?
Correct. Yeah, I don't see it backing up that much. If they're, plus, one point I forgot to mention, one thing they are putting here too, they put pull forward lanes, they call them. And if for some reason the kitchen is slow or somebody has a big order, they can have somebody pull up. And they have 3 spots dedicated for that. Now, so that will allow the drive-through to keep moving. People will still be able to keep going to the windows and keep moving while the other people are waiting for their orders off to the side, so to speak. So that should keep the drive-through moving as well.
Are those 3 stalls included in the parking,
Yes.
in the number of parking stalls?
Yes.
So truly, there's only 41 stalls available for patrons inside the building, correct?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. But that's also for mobile ordering as well.
So where are these 3 stalls that are for people that are waiting for their orders?
They are, 2 of them are out front along Milwaukee Avenue. I don't know if you can see them or not. The parking along Milwaukee Avenue, we have 2 stalls dedicated
Okay.
there.
Uh-huh.
And there's also one along the building that they
Okay.
use. I'm sorry, going back to that point, only 2 of those stalls. So it'd be really 42. One of them is along the building, is a pull-forward stall. So really, in essence, 2 would be used for the customers in place of that.
So are we going to need a variance because they don't meet with those 3 spots, will they meet the code?
The question in my staff review was, did the applicant fully, how is the reduction going to impact their in-restaurant seating? And that was one of the items I identified in the staff report. And does this reduction going to put a burden on the availability of parking for those people, those patrons going inside? And I'm not sure if McDonald's is experiencing less customers going in, and is there a correlation between less volume and less service inside to and thus the requirement for the second lane to keep the movement? And that was one of the identifiers, is even though they've got this, will that reduction that they're proposing, going from 50 to 44, impact, is there going to be an impact, or do they see less usage, and that's why they're proposing what they're proposing?
Their drive-through is up to 70 to 75% of the business now. So their parking demand has gone down significantly over the last few years.
So how does the code define how many parking spaces are required for a building?
It is based upon the gross square footage of the building, and therefore, this is just a hair under 4,400 square feet. So you have to round up for a partial parking space, so therefore 44. Okay, and out of that, you need to have 2 handicap parking spaces,
Yep.
because it's under 50.
Correct.
So therefore, you need 42 regular and 44. So when you look at the gross square footage of the building, it does not get into whether they're designated for overflow or not overflow. So that's the determination where the staff looked at this as being incompliant, because that's the number on the site. But again, I did raise the issue of, is the overall reduction going to impact in their dine-in customer?
But the code calls 44,
Correct.
and we're not going to have 44. Is that correct?
You would have 44 stalls, it'd be kind of like Applebee's, your to-go orders there. I mean, those I think are still considered their parking stalls. They just put a sign in front of them for
The
their
usage
customers.
of,
So that's my understanding, honestly.
And from a staff perspective, I looked at it, and the assistant director looked at it, as that the code calls for what is it?
Does it decipher what?
No,
what
it
they're
doesn't,
actually used
it
for?
doesn't define the use of the parking space. It just says that you have to have X number of parking spaces per 1,000 square feet. And in this particular one, so those parking spaces are still servicing the gross square footage of that space. So therefore, we looked at it as compliant. However, we did want to have testimony answering the question. And I believe you just testified that 77%
Yep.
of their
Seven.
usage is drive-through.
Right.
Have you looked at the existing conditions now on a typical day, or at peak demand, how many stalls are actually being used
No,
at this facility?
no, the study hasn't been done on that for this particular site.
How about the traffic on the adjacent streets? You know, you're representing that you believe that this is going to reduce stacking out on the Palatine and Milwaukee Road. What kind of data do you have to support that?
I don't have data on this per se. I can get you data that McDonald's has from other sites. I can provide that for you. Just looking at the geometry, right now you have the capacity of about 8 cars in your drive-through lane. Now we're increasing it up to 13 with the efficiencies of the double drive-through and the addition of the building. That should really keep things going. And plus with the addition of the pull-forward stalls.
The only one area that I'm struggling with a bit in the new proposed layout, for the cars entering off of Palatine, if they wrap around the building, you have cars stacked up in the drive-through lane, and you have one pulled, parked in the pull-through parking spot.
Okay.
And then you have parking spaces also. So you could have a situation where a guy is trying to maneuver around the car that's waiting for the order, another guy is pulling out of the parking spot, and then you have a flow of cars wrapping around the building to get into the drive-through, and I see that as kind of a choke point. And then you also have cars entering off of Milwaukee, trying to enter into the parking lot where there's a lot of, to me, it seems like there's a lot of congestion there.
That's a possibility. Like I said, the clients are going to have to be courteous drivers, and they have to be lookout. Like any site, typical McDonald's site, you're going to have pinch points like that.
Okay.
So, like I said, they're just going to have to keep an eye out. We can sign things, we can stripe things to have people slow
Yeah, like-
down or keep a better eye out, things of that nature.
Mhm.
McDonald's is always concerned about safety.
Okay. I totally see, you know, the amount of cars that you could put into the drive-through lanes, that's great.
Mhm.
It's just that seems to me that this one spot is a little bit of a drawback with the new layout as opposed to the old layout. So
Yeah,
for
the other thing to
regular
consider,
customers-
the other thing to consider too is that the angled stalls along Milwaukee, typically we will see 18 to 20-foot aisles for the one-way traffic flow. In this particular case, we have almost 26 feet between the parking stalls and the aisle in the front of the building. So there is a little bit more room for maneuverability out in front of the building in case people do start to stack or whatever. I don't foresee them doing that. Hopefully they'll all fall in line. McDonald's sites are fairly intuitive. They do typically go counterclockwise, so I don't think it's not out of the ordinary of a typical McDonald's site in the way it flows for typical people that go through.
They wouldn't be as big if they didn't pay attention to details, right?
Are there any other further questions or comments from the commissioners?
I was just going to say, I've experienced stacking out on Palatine Road here at this location several times, so anything that can be done to alleviate that, I think, is a public benefit. I think it'd be great if, you know, beyond this meeting, if you guys could provide some more data that would support that this layout provides a greater efficiency to understand exactly, you know, between the reduced parking spaces, what we're gaining in effect. So otherwise, anything that can be done to alleviate congestion on Palatine Road there would be a public benefit.
It definitely will, because it's going to force them around all the way around instead of stacking up on the Palatine.
Okay.
Anything else from Director Peterson?
Yes, please. Before we close the public hearing, we need, just to make it known that tonight, we can take action on approving the drive-through lanes. It was discovered today that we do have a section in our sign ordinance related to special uses, and menu boards that go along with drive-through lanes do require special uses. However, when this application came in, it was not properly noticed to include the menu boards. So we can approve the drive-through lane so it will not hold up if the commission's so inclined to approve the drive-through lanes. But then next month, we would have to have them come back and we would be looking at amending our ordinance to match what is coming forward, if that's, what we so choose to do. It was an oversight on our part, but in talking with the attorney, that is the recommended course of action, so it does not delay McDonald's if the PZBA is fine with their making a positive recommendation to move forward.
So what happens if they're approved for the drive-through and not the menu boards?
I believe in speaking with, I've spoke with the attorney, I've spoke with the administrator, I've spoke with a number of the council members, and they had no clue. They just thought the special use for a drive-through lane included the menu boards.
Well, the other option would be to do a variance so that they could get the additional menu boards. So the options are whether we amend our code or we can come up with a variance for the additional menu boards and size that they're proposing, correct?
Correct. And what the plan of action would be then is to come back next month, we would do either the variance request, but probably more than likely would be a text amendment, because if we get another one of these at the old our Hardy site or a couple of the other places that have drive-through, we can put the language in and change the text. We would amend the text, then have them be the next agenda item at our next meeting to move it forward just on the menu board portion of this.
But how long is the process for a text amendment?
We could have that on for our next meeting in July and then approve the first council meeting in August. It was one of those oversights that it's a time issue, and everybody that I've spoke with regarding this they've seen the double drive-through, they've experienced, they thought that you have a drive-through, you get a menu board.
Sure.
They didn't realize what we had in our code, so I just need to make the commission PZBA aware, and also too to get a feeling, and we'll talk after about what type of direction we want to go with that. But, so it's if you want to discuss how you want to address, do we want to pass this as it is, which would be staff's recommendation, so that McDonald's can keep going forward, if you're so inclined to work on the amendment to the signage so they can get the signage.
What is your anticipated construction schedule?
I don't have the exact date, but it's going to be hopefully August is when we were planning to start. I think it's more like in the end of July type of deal.
Well, you're going to have to look at that, because if the city council doesn't hear this until July 9th, that is the first date they can hear this, and then you get your plans for permit review. We're probably talking in August, later part of August for construction.
Probably correct.
And under this scenario with the issue of the text amendment or the variance, they would be proceeding at risk?
Yes.
Okay, are there any other questions from the commissioners? Then I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the second drive-through recommendation.
The recommend approval of an amendment or expansion of the existing special use permit previously issued to approve a second drive-through lane.
Correct.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, this has to be a roll call vote.
Okay. Secretary?
Commissioner Machi,
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon,
Aye.
Commissioner Sayward,
Aye.
Chairman Pro Tem Tammon,
Aye. Okay, so now we will, you will come back at our next meeting.
Here's the, and you can have that so you can see what the special use will be coming, and I'll communicate with Lisa. This portion of it, the drive-through lanes, will be up for city council first reading on Monday, July 9th. Over the next couple days, and we'll have a discussion tonight of what is the consensus of the PZBA as I work with the attorney to draft the text amendment or a variance request. I have looked at this, and I would look at, under this paragraph C, that a restaurant, when granted a special use for the drive-through facility, is granted a menu board as part of that approval. However, we should have some size requirements, otherwise you may get into a 50, 60 square foot. You get out into Vegas and other parts of the country, and you've got basically a wall that's a menu board.
What is our current
Our
code?
current code says 16 square feet. I believe your application shows that message board at about 18 to 20. And currently, you guys are at about 40 out there for the singular one. I know the ones at some of the other locations are more in that 18 to 20 square foot size range. So what is your experience?
It's gonna be the smaller one, for sure, that's a standard size now.
Okay.
That being, I'm pretty sure that's the really old boards that they had. And now the text with the clarity of the new menu boards that they have, I mean, we can shrink everything down quite a bit. So it'll be the 18 square foot as proposed.
So then, from staff perspective, I would like to move in the direction of allowing this, if a restaurant gets a drive-through lane, special use, which is required under the B zoning districts, that they are allowed a menu board up to, and I guess the number 18 square feet, or would we do 20? That's something that we need to discuss here, so I can make the recommendation as we draft the text with the attorney.
I think it would be good to look at some of the, what the corporate standards are now for the menu boards and see, if you're saying 18 is a standard now, is that consistent with the other drive-through
Okay.
restaurants? Maybe do a comparison of what some of the newer drive-throughs are proposing and come up with a recommendation. But I also think that the pre-menu board should be addressed because that seems to be another trend now. Instead of just the menu board, you also have a pre-menu board.
Correct.
So are we going to allow that at each drive-through? And then is there a size constraint for that one too? So I think the new text amendment should address all those issues.
Your pre-menu board is about half the size of your,
Yeah, it's about 10 square feet.
so therefore, between the pre-menu board and the menu board, you're looking at roughly 30 square feet.
Approximately 30 square feet, correct.
So are we looking at a pre-menu board for each drive-through and a menu board?
Yeah, you're going to have
Correct.
menu board and a preview board in each lane. So you have 30 square feet on each lane.
So, right now, currently, at 18, Yeah, that's probably, be more than that, wouldn't it? So if we're doing 18 at the menu board, and you're doing another 10 there, that's 28, roughly your 30 per side. So the question becomes, what is the,
Can I have one 30 square foot?
or do we require, yeah, that's just it, if you have a pre-menu, if you have just a menu board, you're limited to, just for sake of discussion,
Yeah.
20, but if you're gonna have a pre-menu board, you're maxed out at 30 per lane. With,
So I
and-
can't take the two and combine them and say, I'll take one for 30.
I don't think we'd want to give that option to have a 30-foot menu board.
Your option is have the menu board at this size, or if you want this, you get this, but you can't combine
Right.
one as an aggregate. And those are both very good items that this plan presents, and most of the, not just McDonald's, but some of the other large national
Can we,
franchises are doing the same.
Could we direct staff to review what other communities are, are permitting, what seems to be the standard, to come up with something that's equitable for everybody?
Are McDonald's your only clients?
No.
Do you have an idea of what other clients have done?
Well, I will say McDonald's is, they're first and foremost with a double drive-through.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very innovative, and they've come up with this whole concept. I know others have tried a double drive-throughs, maybe not with as much success, and have gotten away from it, just because the business is different. I would say, we haven't had kickback from anybody else as far as menu boards and the preview boards go. I think 30 square feet is, the size of that is fairly reasonable for menu boards, as far as menu boards go and stuff.
Well, right on Rand Road, I can think of 3 scenarios where this would exist. There's another McDonald's, there's a Chick-fil-A, and there's a Starbucks that all have drive-through lanes with pre-menu boards and menu boards. So
Mhm.
we could take those 3 examples and see if, and they're all relatively new,
Mm-hmm. And all within,
probably a half a mile of each other.
okay. I'll do some research on that side of it, but if you're comfortable with heading that direction, I can communicate what our research shows. Unless you have various other stuff you want to present.
We can provide you with our specs if you don't already have all them already.
If you could, because this was hard to read.
Yeah, no, not
Yeah,
a problem. We can provide you with big blow-ups from the sign vendor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of the sizes and all the square footage, and you can see what we have. That's not a problem. We'll provide that for you.
That would be very helpful.
Not a problem.
Does that provide you the direction?
Yes.
Okay.
It does. And as soon as I come to get the data, I'll shoot the PZBA and if you could just give me your consensus of your likes, dislikes, or where you feel comfortable, so I can move forward with the text amendment.
Correct. Don't want on.
How much, excuse me, John.
Go ahead.
So the idea would be the text amendment would be on the next PZBA, and how much notice, when does that have to be finalized in order to make the appropriate notice?
2 weeks?
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, it's,
Okay, so you got your work cut out for you.
however, this happens to be a good time right now.
If we don't have any more rain.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
However, no, and actually, this will work, this whole process will move fairly quickly. It's,
Yeah, if you could keep us all informed and through the email.
will do. Thank you, that's the direction staff needs.
Okay, is there any other items on this particular case?
Nope. So on Monday, July 9th, 6:30 PM here for the drive-through lanes.
At least we'll get that moving for you.
Good. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, here's,
Our next
guys,
case.
just before we call the next one, I'm going to actually pass out to each of you the section under special uses under the sign code, so you can see where I was talking about. I apologize for not handing that out first, but, and if you have any suggestions and you want to shoot me an email, I'd be more than happy to take.
Okay. Moving along, and our next case is PZBA Public Hearing Case Number ZBA 18-07V. The applicant is St. Alphonsus Liguori Parish, represented by Rich Maselli, address 411 North Wheeling Road. And description of the request: the applicant is seeking a special use permit per section 5-9-58 to construct a 3-foot by 6-foot electronic message center sign into their replacement ground sign at the church, R1 residential district. And with that, I would like to enter into the exhibit, into the minutes, the exhibits 1 through 5. And with that, I will entertain a motion to open this public hearing.
Also move?
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
The city received an application from St. Alphonsus Liguori Church and Rich Maselli. They're proposing to replace the existing ground sign with a new ground sign, but as part of that project, they would like to incorporate a 3-foot by 6-foot electronic message sign as described. And Mr. Maselli is here.
Okay. Is there anybody else besides Rich? I guess not. I'll swear you in. Do you tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Rich.
Rich Maselli, St. Alphonsus Liguori, 411 North Wheeling Road, Prospect Heights. So our current fluorescent sign on the bottom will be replaced. The message part of the sign will be replaced with an LED electronic messaging sign. We can get more messages out, and I've been changing this sign for close to 30 years, so I'm looking forward to the new sign in a big way.
Director Peterson, do you have any comments?
You're aware of the restrictions and requirements of the message sign, the
Yes.
timing, the content, and we did discuss that.
Yes, I have.
And provide that, so that, to me, this is something that the city and the PZBA and the council has granted in other cases, and as long as it's compliant, it does not impose any hardship for staff.
Okay. Are there any comments from the commissioners?
Rich, could you just clarify or confirm that, I know that 6-foot overall height is what's allowed, and the pictures that we have don't have any dimensions on it, so can you just verify that the overall height is going to be 6 feet or less?
The overall height is 6 foot as it is. Currently with the, you can take and pass it along. But our current sign is as tall as me, it's 6 foot tall. The base is all removable bricks. It's sitting on an existing, the conduit, the post, and the new sign will be lighter than what's out there currently. Right now, we have to have an address out in front. The address sits on top of the sign now as a little 411, just so that we had something up there. While the new sign will have it incorporated, nice and big, won't be covered by snow, won't have to be painted every year, and so it'll be additional help for us.
So is that included in the 6-foot height?
Yes.
So the square foot coverage and everything, it's strictly a replacement, 1-for-1. Okay. Any other questions?
I apologize for not knowing this, but is that sign currently lit?
Yes, it is. 6 fluorescent tubes,
Yep.
which are replaced on a regular basis, and sockets and ballasts, and it's time to go by. It's old technology.
Dan, is there any requirement, this is a residential area, like the brightness of the sign, how many lumens in the day and in the evening? I imagine you'd have to tone, typically you'd see them toned down a little bit in the evening.
You're correct, and it will be.
It will be?
We do have foot candle requirements, but that's typically applied to the parking lot lighting. There is really not a good standard right now for the LEDs, other than you can tell them to diminish them at certain hours.
Yes.
And they can be programmed down.
Yes.
The only other item on this one is where the church is, it is along Wolf Road, which is Wheeling Road, which is a county road. And the speed limit along there is
35.
35 miles an hour, and the houses are set back. I don't see this as being a light problem on that county road.
But is your intent that it will be dimmed in the evening? The
Absolutely.
programming will be set up that way? I
Absolutely.
think that's great.
You wouldn't want that brightness, the daytime brightness in the evening would blind people as they'd be driving.
Just for information, Rich lives right across the street,
Well-
so it's shining to his house.
Was that 407, was it 406?
402.
Oh, 402.
So he
That's
would
why
be
he's
the
turning it down
one
at
most directly impacted.
I imagine that was the case, but I didn't want to enter that into the record.
Okay, are there any other further questions?
The only other comment I have is that I wanted to compliment St. Al's on the landscaping that they have around the sign. I think it's very well incorporated with that whole, the base of the sign, but it still makes it very visible. So I just wanted to say that. I think that the landscape is awesome there. I would hope that having the electronic message center now would be an opportunity to eliminate some of the temporary portable signs that get stuck in. It seems like every week there's a different temporary sign, so I'm hoping that maybe this would be an opportunity to eliminate some of those along
Absolutely.
Wheeling Road.
Yep, the enroll now for school can be incorporated into the electronic sign instead of putting multiple
Right.
yard signs out there. And I'll let the landscaping, our wonderful group of volunteers, landscaping committee, know that. We liked it. They've just done a tremendous job.
Yeah, and I think the sign itself looks very nice, and some of those other signs are just going to detract from it, so I,
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, any further comments? Then I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. Any further discussion from the commissioners or staff regarding this item?
July 9th, Rich, 6:30.
I'll be here. Thank you.
If you would like a waiver of first reading, I need a formal request in writing. Otherwise, it would be first reading on the 9th and then formal passage 2 weeks later.
That's fine.
Okay.
Thank
We
you
need a
very
roll
much.
call to approve this,
Yeah,
especially.
you do need a roll call. and-
Yeah.
Okay, is there I will entertain a motion to approve ZBA 18-07V as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Commissioner Kempa,
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon,
Aye.
Commissioner Sayward,
Aye.
Chairman Pro Tem Tamman.
Aye. Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you, Rich.
Thanks, Rich.
Next item on our agenda is any communications?
We will be having a meeting next month. We'll have this text amendment and the special use for McDonald's. We will have Village Cycle Sports in for a special use for allowing parking and storage of vehicles in the back parking lot. And then there's one other one.
Daycare at 11
Oh,
Wolf.
at 11 South Wolf, the dance studio, I believe that's the Fred Astaire Dance Studio. That's at the corner of Camp McDonald and
Oh,
Wolf.
yeah.
Okay, the owners are getting out of the dance studio business and are proposing to open a daycare there.
Wow, I haven't heard of Fred Astaire for 50 years.
Is that the one that says ballroom dancing?
Yes.
In the front?
Yes, they do have another studio in Lake Zurich, but this area down here, that's not been doing so well, so they're converting it, gonna be opening up a daycare center is what they would like to do. So, then we'll have a few items on the agenda next month, so.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Any comments from commissioners? Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn then.
Also move?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.